WrestleManiacs, Maniacs. This is the podcast, it's called WrestleManiacs. Adam, Donald, Indy, and Josh. Then now together forever and son. WrestleManiacs. This is the podcast, it's called WrestleManiacs. WWE, AEW, TNA, JPW. WrestleManiacs. Good evening, WrestleManiacs. It's Josh here live tonight, and we are reviewing WWE SmackDown. We had a pretty wild SmackDown tonight. We had the quarterfinals of the SmackDown side of the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament bracket, as well as we had Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes make their match in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia official. So again, WrestleManiacs, let's just get started. What we opened up with tonight is we actually opened up with a match between Bianca Belair and Tiffany Stratton for the Queen of the Ring quarterfinal. This is a pretty good match. I've got to say, these two definitely have some chemistry together. Again, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of all the controversy with Tiffany Stratton, but I mean, again, rumors have been saying online that it's not really going to affect her push, but evidently I have to say, basically watching this match, I think definitely that dreaded tweet cost her, I would think, the advancement in the tournament, because Bianca Belair, again, great match. So definitely wasn't a burial by any stretch, but definitely a very fun match. It really had you kind of guessing now, especially now who won. Bianca Belair actually picks up the win and advances in the Queen of the Ring tournament. So she will either face Jade Cargill or Nia Jax next in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at the PLE. And so we'll find out later on in the show what her opponent's going to be. What we get next is actually a Logan Paul backstage segment where he actually runs into LA Knight as he's heading towards Nick Aldis's office. Again, I think you can definitely tell they're starting to plant the seeds of a LA Knight and Logan Paul feud. I think they planted it a long time ago, but definitely we're starting to see the seeds of that start. What we get from there is a Jade Cargill backstage interview, actually, and pretty much she tells that, yeah, Nia Jax is a beast, essentially, but she's not afraid of anybody because all that Nia Jax is in her way in the Queen of the Ring tournament. During the interview, we actually had Bianca Belair make an appearance, basically just saying, hey, I advanced in the tournament, and you never know. It might just be me and you next week facing off, kind of teasing and planting the seeds there. Again, that'll be different depending on what we see later on, but a nice little tease for their possible match that you would think would occur at the PLE. What we have next is the Bloodline in their locker room with Tama Tonga basically just grunting back and forth. A little comical almost, I guess, but you kind of pan to Solo and Paul asks Solo about Roman. Hey, have you talked to him? And Paul is, of course, concerned and shocked that Solo's been talking to Roman all this time. But Solo's response is very interesting. All the time, Paul. All the time. And tells Tama Tonga, let's go. Let's get this done. So before we get to this match, we actually have another backstage segment with LA Knight actually interviewing, saying basically he's going to be beating Tama Tonga, essentially going to advance in the King of the Ring tournament. Yeah. And Carmelo Hayes actually comes up and says, hey, look, I'm the number one draft pick. Essentially, I'm one of the top draft picks. And, get to know me, remember my name, because I'm going to be the King of the Ring. And interestingly enough, LA Knight makes a pretty good point. He says, Tom Brady, the draft, he wasn't number one, but who remembers number one? Nobody. So essentially telling Carmelo Hayes that, hey, you may be number one, but that don't mean jack around here. And then he's going to basically teach him a lesson. And my favorite line of the night, just go play somewhere, I'm busy. Basically just kind of brushes off Carmelo Hayes. So, which then after this segment, we actually lead to LA Knight versus Tama Tonga. This match was all right. Again, seemed kind of telegraphed based upon the matches tonight who was going to win this one. And actually, because of course interference and all that with the Bloodline, we actually have Tama Tonga pick up the win here over LA Knight. So poor LA Knight, just like AJ Styles, lost one of the big ones, and who knows where they're going to go from here. Hopefully they won't feud or become a tag team. Never can tell, but those two seemed lost in the shuffle on SmackDown. So don't think it did them any favors staying in the draft here. So, of course, naturally, we go backstage, and LA Knight is unhappy with the results, losing, and actually gets into it, runs into Carmelo Hayes again, while Charles Robinson, the legendary referee, stands behind him, basically, and just tells him, hey, back off, back away, don't get into an argument, leave each other alone. Essentially, just kind of breaking up a potential feud here. Again, I wouldn't mind LA Knight versus Carmelo Hayes, because, both men need feuds. Maybe it'll be a pretty good match. Never can tell. They're both NXT alumnus, of course, so definitely nothing wrong with that. Hopefully, there'll be a good feud. We'll see. And now, WrestleManiacs. The famous question at the contract signing. What do you want to talk about? What we'll talk about is this contract signing, and I really did like this contract signing. It was very well done. I'm starting to like that Nick Aldis stands up to the wrestlers, because basically what happened is Cody Rhodes, of course, has signed the agreement. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I forgot your comments. Excuse me. So Tiffany was right. The only right winner. It's always Tiffy time. LA to take the belt off Logan. Nobody Paul. Yeah, hopefully we'll see that. Ram Jam. Hey, Ram Jam too. Does Tama not know how to talk? Are they making him a silent killer? I don't know. I mean, to be the grunting was a little much. I mean, again, I understand he is, Haku's son, but I don't know if it's his voice. Just it sounded terrible. It sounded like a little kid almost. I didn't like that at all. So, again, thanks, guys. Sorry I missed your messages here a second ago. But anyways, back to this contract signing. What we have, again, is Logan Paul looks like he's going to sign the contract and actually rips the contract up, saying, look, you're not going for my United States title. My agreement was to go for the WWE Undisputed title, and I deserve all the titles around here. And Nick Aldis actually gets upset. He actually presents his own, Logan Paul does, his own contract. Tells Nick Aldis, here, just have him sign it. Basically, just telling him to take care of it and do it, monkey. Patsy, whatever you want to call, insert name here. Basically treating Mr. Nick Aldis with disrespect, basically, because he's Logan Paul. And, of course, everybody follows what he does. Well, Nick Aldis does not. I'm starting to wonder if they're going to start working him into a feud with someone. Because, again, Nick Aldis has always stood up to the wrestlers. He's never really taken the heels' advice. He's always kind of told them pretty much this is how it's going to be. And Cody Rhodes makes mention that, look, Nick, I know what happens when you get mad, so just go on out here. I'll take care of it. Essentially, they get into it, argue a bit, and Cody Rhodes does sign the contract that Logan Paul provided, and we have it official that it's going to be only for the WWE Undisputed Championship live in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at WWE King and Queen of the Ring. So a nice little way to get out of it. It makes sense for Logan Paul to not want to defend his championship in character, so of course, I think we're probably going to have him and LA Knight feud after this pay-per-view. I don't think Logan Paul is going to have a chance of winning. This is just something to feed Cody until SummerSlam, and we'll see what happens from there. So, after that contract signing, we actually get a backstage interview with Nia Jax, and basically just says she's not scared of Jade Cargill. Yes, she's impressive. Yes, she's great, but she's Nia Jax, and she's going to run her over, heading towards the semifinals and, of course, the finals to become the Queen of the Ring. And, definitely with Nia's character on SmackDown, it's breathed a fresh breath of air, I would say. And, her winning the King of the Ring, or Queen of the Ring, excuse me, I wouldn't mind. Let's see. Nick here says, Roman, Jimmy, and Jay to take out the new bloodline. Yeah, I'm curious to see if it's going to happen at this pay-per-view. But, again, Saudi Arabia is known for wanting to have star power. Oh, Ram Jam. Cody went EVP in this segment. You know what? And they were in Jacksonville, so definitely he did reference that they do know him there, and he's pretty familiar. So not a bad segment. Again, like I said, I do like that Nick Aldis is starting to stand up, and again, they're mentioning his temper. So I wonder if they're actually going to give him a shot, at some pay-per-view, because again, he's still a wrestler. He is still former NWA champion. He hasn't retired as far as I know. So oddly, they just have him being the GM for whatever reason. So hopefully it leads to something. Anyways, as we continue, we actually get to the Nia Jax versus Jade Cargill match. And, for these two powerhouses, definitely I didn't expect a, 5-star match or a Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. But, they did pretty well. Jade's daughter was actually in the crowd. And so when Nia Jax was throwing her around and throwing her into the barricade, you, of course, see Nia Jax kind of try to intimidate her daughter. And I think the stupidest ending to me, there was a part where Nia Jax grabs a chair, is about to hit Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill catches it, gets mad, and actually whoops, whatever, hits her, being Nia Jax, with a chair, causing the disqualification. Of course, Jade just lost her temper, got upset, but it has cost her the semifinal match, the quarterfinal match. So now, in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, we're going to have Bianca Belair versus Nia Jax in a semifinal match. And again, whoever wins on the Raw side, they'll have a match there too. You know, I understand you can't have Nia Jax lose because she's so somewhat new on SmackDown. I understand Jade Cargill you got to protect, but making her seem stupid, just hitting her with a chair. Again, maybe I'm wrong. I just didn't agree with the match one here. Let's see. Nick says Nick should bring back Mickey. See, I could see that just for fun because it would make sense. Definitely spicing up the women's division. So I would be totally for that for sure. But anyways, this match was actually fairly decent, I guess. Again, it wasn't going to go long. It wasn't going to go 20 minutes. But for what they did, they were able to protect each other. Nobody got hurt. So, I mean, that right there in any Nia Jax match is a miracle right there to start with. So, we also get another match with the new tag team, DIY versus Legado del Fantasma. You know, again, you had A-Town Down Under. Let me say that again. A-Town Down Under. Sorry, still late. In at commentary, essentially, setting up for a feud with DIY. DIY picks up the win here, kind of their greatest hits. I'm not a fan of DIY, but I'm hoping that we still get this continual kind of trajectory where Tommaso Ciampa is going to turn on Johnny Gargano. Because I mean, even when I was watching his entrance, Tommaso Ciampa didn't seem so friendly. He kind of seemed focused, hyper focused, maybe a little angry. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but again, WWE has never won, especially in the Triple H era, never won for just kind of random fun or randomness. I would definitely say that there's something going on with Tommaso Ciampa, and I'm hoping we see it soon because their matches in NXT were great, and I would not be upset if we had a SmackDown feud between these two. So, again, pretty good match, but again, DIY picks up the win here. What we get next is poor AJ Styles. He at least knows and asks the question, where do I go from here? What do I do? And next week he's going to be confronting Nick Aldis to figure out what in the heck he's going to be doing. Because again, AJ Styles just is lost in the shuffle. Maybe this is part of the story. Maybe it's a grander part of the story. Wouldn't be upset over that, but I definitely hope there's some good comeuppance and I guess a good story here. Because otherwise, poor AJ Styles is just lost in the shuffle. What we have next, let's see. I've got a comment here from Ramjam. Excuse me, Nick Aldis is the only GM who had any backbone to stand up against wrestlers. Yeah, I mean, really, I guess the only other one you could say was probably when Stone Cold Steve Austin was the co-GM with Bischoff way back in, 03, almost 20-something years ago, 21 years ago now. Man, I'm getting old. Anyways, yeah, no, I agree. He definitely is the only one that really does have any backbone to stand up. But I like it because they do mention that, he's not just some pushover. So I do enjoy that they're kind of somewhat hinting that he's a wrestler, has wrestled before. But we go backstage with Bayley talking about the Queen of the Ring tournament, essentially kind of what's going on in her lap. And we have Piper and Chelsea interrupt, basically talking about, nobody wants to see Bayley, nobody cares. And Bayley said, no, we're going to have a talk next week. You know what? We'll have a talk in the ring. So whether it's Piper, whether it's Chelsea, it didn't seem like it was too obvious. I mean, I would hope it'd be Piper versus Bayley because I'd love to see that sort of match again because I think Piper has potential. Even Chelsea Green in her NXT women's match really was good. So either one will be a good match, I think. We just need to see these characters do a little bit more than just their typical Piper and Chelsea thing. Get a little bit more serious. But Bayley defending against one of those champions at Saudi Arabia, hey, I'm not against either choice, really. This leads to our final match of the evening, our main event, Randy Orton versus Carmelo Hayes. Good match. Although I've got to say, and this might be controversial, Carmelo Hayes, look, he can't help it. I know he can't help it. But his size hurts him, it seems like. I mean, you got Randy Orton, who's almost seemingly a foot taller than him, essentially just makes him look like a little kid. I mean, again, granted, it worked for Rey Mysterio. It works for some wrestlers. I'm not saying that somebody at that size can't succeed. They can. But just the way Carmelo is presented as he's just, this big, huge guy, they don't play into the fact that even though he's short, he's got a lot of fight, or he's got a lot of heart, or he's wily. I don't know. There's just something in commentary that they're missing, explaining that here's this. I mean, because if I'm a fan and I've never seen it, right? I'm just newbie. I'd be like, well, why is that little guy fighting Randy Orton? Again, Randy Orton's not that tall. Don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that the man does not have talent. He does. He definitely does. I just feel like that it was strange when Trick was his manager because Trick is way taller than him. And I always call him Little Carmelo because, again, he just looks so small in comparison. Definitely talent there, but I'm I don't know. It's just something with me. Maybe it's a disconnect. I don't know. I just am not a fan of the way Carmelo is being booked because look, he lost to Cody Rhodes, he lost to Randy Orton tonight, so Randy Orton did win with a springboard RKO from Carmelo Hayes. So again, he advances to the semifinal match and will meet Tama Tonga in the semifinals at Jeddah, Saudi Arabia next week. So we've got a pretty good setup of the King and Queen of the Ring semifinals, essentially. I don't know. Again, this match was good enough, but Carmelo's got to do something. He's got to start winning because, I mean, if LA Knight beats him, then really, what is he here for? What is the point of Carmelo? He wrestled the champion. Yeah, he wrestled Randy Orton, but he's already lost to them. Not decisively. They did make it to where he could hang with them, but I don't know. I mean, if you want to give him the 1, 2, 3 kid kind of gimmick and have him win just the big one, suddenly great. But I don't know. I just really expect more from Carmelo. And at this point, I don't know. It's just a weird way they're booking him, I think. Ram Jam going back to AJ Styles. Do you think AJ goes crawling back to the OC? I think he should. I think this is where you can get it to where he's tired of losing. Look, I'm not going to be upset if we get another Cody versus AJ match either at SummerSlam, Bash at Berlin, wherever. And, you know, I'm sorry, I don't think it would matter if Cody Rhodes lost. He doesn't have to be the champion for a whole entire year. Who cares? At this point, he's finishing the story. So now his story is going for a Grand Slam championship. Maybe he gets out of the title picture, maybe comes back, fights The Rock for the People's Championship that The Rock had gifted himself, or Muhammad Ali supposedly gave him in Vegas next year. But yeah, I would think so. I think this should be the catalyst, hopefully, for him to realize that, you know, there's no reason to be a loner when you have family. Do the whole Vin Diesel thing. Nothing stronger than family or good brothers, right? So, again, so after the match, Bloodline comes out, basically stands on the stage and tries to intimidate Randy Orton, essentially just showing them the numbers. And he says, look, you need to remember who I am, 14-time world champion. Randy Orton, I'm the Viper, and you're going to feel the deadliest, most poisonous 3 words in all of WWE and actually sports entertainment, which I thought was really interesting. He said that, not pro wrestling, RKO. And Nick here says it best, Bloodline to remember the 3 words RKO. Yes, Ram Jam. Yes, I would agree. OC versus Cody, this is what should have been at Backlash. But again, if they're going to lead to this and it's going to be a SummerSlam thing, I'm all cool with it. I'm cool with waiting. But yes, 1,000% yes. The Bullet Club, the Bloodline, look, I mean, you could have an interference from Finn Balor just because why in the heck not? Because Judgment Day seemingly is going to go away soon. So would I be upset if Finn Balor made an appearance, whether it's on AJ Styles' side or Cody's side or whatever? Hey, look. Why not have the club? Have fun with it, right? So, good point there, Ram Jam. I definitely agree. Randy should bring back the punt. See, I kind of think that too, especially with the just the whole intensity of this feud. I can definitely see him taking out Kevin Owens. Well, you know, maybe he takes out Tama Tonga or Tongaloa. Really, he needs to take out Solo Sikoa so that Jacob Fatu can come and really be the real tribal chief of this new bloodline, because I don't know what it is, guys. I don't know if it's the blonde hair. And again, I say that because I have blonde hair now and bleach my own hair. But something with Solo just doesn't connect because he doesn't dress like a boss. He dresses like an underboss. Pretty much, I could see him dressing like that, being in the D'Angelo family with the gloves and the red suit. It just does not exude tribal chief. Roman Reigns could wear a t-shirt and exude tribal chief energy. And this guy just don't have it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's booking. I mean, I think another guy and myself were talking about, you know, poor Solo's kind of like the Wish version of Taz. It just, you know, he stands there, folds his arms, and looks tough. But once Jacob Fatu comes in, and granted, I don't know Jacob Fatu. I don't follow MLW that close. I know who he is, but I don't really know his character. And just looking at his picture online versus Solo, night and day difference. There's a presentation there that, and WWE supposedly is trying to make Solo seem more menacing and more calculated and evil, so that when Jacob Fatu comes in, he's not going to outshine him. But guys, I don't know. Solo's got to do something. I don't know if it's the hair. I don't know if it's his demeanor. I don't know if it's the weird suits, but something's got to change. Something for Solo has changed, because I do not still see him as the tribal chief. It just does not work. Ram Jam, you agree? Yeah, it's just something. And again, it may not be his fault. I mean, again, he has talent. It's just, I'm going to say this the most respectful way I can. Zilla Fatu is the son of Umaga, right? I understand that Umaga is gone, right? He's passed away a couple of years ago. But, you know, Solo for so long acted like he was supposed to be the new Umaga, and suddenly now the new Umaga can talk. He can take over a bloodline. Even in NXT, he really was the Street Fighter characters. So he really has not had really a big character, I don't think. I mean, granted, could they have done the slow burn like the Batista where he starts getting tired of Roman? That's where I thought they were going. But for have him to become heel and try to be the boss, it's not working. It's not working. And yes, I agree, Ram Jam. Just from a picture, I have not watched any matches with Jacob Fatu. The man pulls off intensity. The man seems like a monster you don't want to mess with. That's the new Umaga right there. And to me, I would much rather feel more intimidated of Jacob Fatu attacking Roman Reigns and beating him up versus Solo Sikoa. Again, I don't know if it's there. It could be he could turn his hair black tomorrow and it'd be perfect. He could stop wearing the gloves and stop dressing like he's the Godfather. But something's disconnecting, and WWE needs to figure this out quickly. Going back to Cody, Nick says Cody doing the Stardust against AJ was cool to see. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I love that they're embracing these former gimmicks. I love that they're embracing Cody's history and even talking about Jacksonville without really saying so. It definitely is an interesting time in WWE. It definitely is something that, it's going to be around for quite a while. This new era, we're just going to have to see what happens. So, really, guys and gals, WrestleManiacs, that's it for the SmackDown review tonight. Thanks for joining me. Again, feel free to comment on what your thoughts of the show were, thoughts about Solo Sikoa, the King and Queen of the Ring. Who do you think's going to win? Let's see, Ram Jam. I got a couple of things here. Nick says, I can't take Solo seriously. Maybe Paul turns on Solo to start a new order in the bloodline. Something's got to be done because Solo is just not doing it for me. Let's see, Ram Jam. When you got a guy who can moonsault with that size, well, yeah, I mean, that's intimidating. Solo again, I don't want to delve too much into it again, but Jacob is a monster from the clips I've seen is what Ram Jam says here. Yeah, I mean, again, just a scream. He's got the tribal chieftain, really. I mean, definitely he could be the new Umaga, essentially, in terms of just this intimidating character. So we'll see what happens. Again, hopefully, and I hope Solo steps into his role. I hope he makes us all wrong, but for now, I'm not feeling it. So, guys, WrestleManiacs, again, that is the SmackDown review tonight. You can always follow us here at the A+ Hero Report YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification icon to let you know whenever we drop some new content or go live, which I go live every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday for Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. And actually, this coming weekend, this next weekend, I should say, Memorial Day weekend, I'm actually going to be reviewing WWE King and Queen of the Ring, as well as AEW Double or Nothing. Look, I watched Dynasty last month just, for fun, and I actually enjoyed it. So could they hook me to actually start reviewing Dynamite or Collision? Maybe both. Who knows? So definitely make sure to, again, like and subscribe. And also you can follow me on X at WrestleM Podcast. Don't forget also to follow at @Dotala_, as well as her Rangers of Wrestling podcasts as well. So for all of us WrestleManiacs across all the channels and Twitter, thanks so much, guys and gals, for joining us. And I will see you guys on Monday Night Raw's review. Thanks so much and have a good night, good morning, good day, wherever you are in the world. See you later.